You might not remember our state-of-the-art facilities or the high-tech equipment we use, but you will remember how great you were treated. As a Pathway to Excellence hospital, LMH is a recognized leader in nursing support. And committed colleagues mean better, more compassionate care for you and your family. Memorial Health, where great care comes together.
The old way of doing things makes sense for some things, like a hot dog at the game. But the old ways don't make sense if you expect more yield out of your acres, because there's a new way to unlock the full potential of your fields, and it starts when you plant and list corn. With 4 robust trait tolerances, glyphosate and glufosinate, plus 2,4-D choline and FOP, it unleashes ultimate weed control flexibility with multiple modes of action to fight weeds. See what's possible for your fields at enlist.com/corn.
Rehab, recover, and return home. When you or your loved one use the Bounce Back program at Liberty Village of Clinton. When you're not ready for a nursing home, their Bounce Back program is the answer. Click their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Simply the finest.
SIU Family Medicine wants the best health for you and your family. Be a champion. Protect your loved ones. The SIU Center for Family Medicine of Lincoln is accepting new patients. Click their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com to schedule your appointment.
News time is 7 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Wednesday. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 7 o'clock newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. Here's what we have coming up for you in news on this Wednesday. We start the day taking a look at some of those rainfall totals across the area, as over the last week we have had significant rain, much needed significant rain in central Illinois. We pass along some of the rainfall totals for the listening area for this morning. Also coming up in news today, we follow up the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting. An increase in iron could be coming in your water this week. That story comes up in news this morning. There will be an achievement night hosted by the University of Illinois Extension this weekend for its 4-H'ers. Details on that come up today. School report card data is out now. A DeWitt County School District analyzing its data this week, and the cold and flu season is upon us. We hear from a Piatt County medical specialist this morning in news. But first, we stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Taking a look at those rainfall totals here, we start in Clinton. Over the last week, we have received 3 and 4/10 inches of rain in Clinton over the last week. 3 9/10 over by Farmers City of rainfall here in the last week or so. We move south to Decatur. Decatur reporting between 4 1/5 and 4 1/2 inches in Decatur, just off of the highway south of Oriena. 3 6/10 inches there in that part of Macon County, and between Mount Zion and Dalton City in southeast Macon County. 4 8/10 inches of rainfall in Decatur. Monticello and Piatt County, 4 4/10 inches of rainfall over the last week. Couple of reports south of Cisco, one just to the west of Allerton Park, just over 4 inches, and between Cisco and Cerro Gordo on 48, 4 1/10 inches of rainfall. And then far southern Piatt County in the Bement area, 3 3/4 inches of rainfall. Couple of reports in the northeast corner of the county, north of the highway, one of 3 9/10, the other of 3 6/10 inches of rainfall in Piatt County. Moving to the west, one report in rural Logan County, north of Mount Pulaski in the eastern side of the county, 5 1/2 inches of rainfall. Lincoln receiving between 3 and 4 inches of rain. Several reports in Lincoln over the last week of rainfall. Hartsburg and Atlanta along 136. 2 9/10 inches of rainfall in northern Logan County. for the last month, or not one, a little south of 136, I guess I should say, but between Hartsburg and Atlanta, 2 9/10 inches in northern Logan County. New Holland, western Logan County, 2 9/10 inches of rain also reported there. Moving north to Bloomington, Normal, rainfall totals ranging between 2 3/10 and about 2 8/10 of rain. Several reports in Bloomington Normal in McLean County. Some of the outlying areas of McLean County where 55 and 72 or 74 meet up, rather, about 3 6/10 inches of rainfall there. Towanda Barnes Avenue on the southeast side of the county, about 3 6/10 inches of rainfall in that part of McLean County. Taking a look at some of the more rural areas of McLean County, Carlock, 2 8/10 inches north of Carlock at the Woodford County line, about 2 9/10, almost 3 inches of rain on that one report. 3 1/10 inches of rain in the eastern portion of McLean County, north of Arrowsmith. 3 9/10 inches in Hayworth. 3 1/2 inches just outside of Leroy in southern McLean County the last week or so. Into Champaign County, Champaign-Urbana reports ranging between 4 1/3 inches of rainfall to over 5. In fact, 5 1/3 inches of rainfall in Urbana the last week of rainfall totals. In the Mahomet area, reports ranging between 3 1/2 and 4 1/10 inches of rainfall, with several reports out of the Mahomet area from the last week. 1 8/10 in St. Joseph, Sidney, 3 inches, Philo 3 inches, Tolono just short of 3 inches, Sodoris reporting 4 1/2 inches of rainfall from the last week, and Broadlands in the southeast corner of Champaign County, 1 2/3. Rantoul in northern Champaign County, 3 2/3 inches of rainfall, and in the very northwest corner of Champaign County, 3 inches of rain reported there. Elsewhere in central Illinois, kind of moving around the area right now, Springfield reporting between 4 1/2 inches and 5 1/5 inches of rainfall, with several reports in Springfield and Sangamon County. 5 1/2 inches, one report out of Chatham over the last week. The Peoria area of central Illinois reporting over 2 inches of rainfall. Tazewell County, some reports out of there. Morton, 3 1/4 inches of rain. 2 2/3 inches of rain in Washington in northern Tazewell County. 2 7/10 in Pekin, just outside of Pekin. 2 9/10 inches of rainfall. Let's see, south of Deer Creek, 2 4/10 inches of rain in Tazewell County from the last week. Elsewhere in central Illinois, Christian County, so the northwest corner of Christian County, 4 1/10 inches of rain. The southwest corner of Christian County around Morrisonville, 5 1/10 inches of rain. The southeast corner of Christian County between Assumption and Pana on 51, 5 8/10 inches of rainfall. Varying reports out of Christian County, and where Christian and Montgomery County meet, 6 inches of rainfall. 3 1/4 inches of rain in Shelbyville, 2 9/10 inches of rain in Sullivan in Moultrie County. North of Lovington, south of Hammond, 4 6/10 inches of rain in northern Moultrie County. 3 1/5 inches of rain in Arthur. Tuscola, 2 1/4 inches of rain in Douglas County. CocoRoz.org, our place for rainfall totals, as always, on the morning show. And again, join us 8:30 this morning. We talk with Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln. Water in Clinton could see an increase in iron this week. At the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting, Commissioner John Weiss indicated the city is watching its chemical levels as new equipment goes online, and an iron deficiency, iron deficiency could lead to, CO2 deficiency could lead to a spike in iron levels.
A little bit to Kyle. Kyle's been down. We've been working on the CO2. We're going to be working on the lime silo. I want him to give you a little update. He gave me a quick one. The CO2 is down for the last couple of days. So if you notice a little more iron in your water, that's basically the reason. You can't get everything going and they have to let it shut down to go to work on this stuff. And then the lime is getting ready. And
they're saying 3 to 4 weeks, like everything will be here, and then time does come, it's going to be down for about 2 weeks, so water's going to get pretty bad.
I want to make sure everybody knows that it's going to be down and we can still produce all the water that we need, but it's just going to be back to the iron levels are going to go up. I might want to be careful with laundry. We know what it was like in years past, so I just want everyone to know, and before they start yelling and letting the people up there at City Hall getting an earful, try to let people know ahead of time and let them know that this is going to happen. That way there's no surprises, but when it's back, all that's going to be brand new equipment. Everything's going to be working a lot smoother. Hopefully it's going to take and really do what it was doing to start with, and we just keep adding and bringing this stuff on.
According to Wise, there is a bid for equipment to repair a well near the well behind the YMCA in Clinton.
When we get down to new business, you already see that the well 11 behind the YMCA, we worked on a motor. The motor wasn't as bad as it was first expected, but we're going to get it rebuilt. But the actual well itself, the couplings, the casing, all that, it's over 20 years old, same as the water department. So that has to be replaced. So you'll see you've got a copy of Lane Western's estimate to replace everything. We're going to replace everything from top to bottom, and then that way we'll have a motor on hand. We'll have a brand new motor on that one. We'll have a motor that's all been rebuilt. We have a rebuilt motor that's on one of the wells right now that was done in that manner. But that gives us a spare in case something happens. We're not going to be down. We have one to put right back on. That one's going to be taken care of this evening.
Additionally, there is a boiler system for the water facility, and Weiss says it needs to be replaced as it's very old, noting they got their money's worth out of it.
And then you'll see where the heating system, we've got an old boiler system that has been in, good Lord, I have no idea how old that thing is. I've been gone a long time, and that thing has been nickel-dimed and just kept going. It's done. So it's going to be a forced air heat with air conditioning in both of the sides of the building, and all going to be replaced, and that's going to be on there for unfinished business to do this evening. So
Last time that was replaced with Bill White.
oh, that was a long time ago. That was ages. So that thing, we got our money's worth out of it, but it's time that everything gets revamped. When we're done, it should be in really good shape, and hopefully Kyle and the guys will be able to work like they're supposed to without having to go in there and just keep nickel diamond and have to be there overtime and all that. So we will get there.
The council approved both measures for the upgrades on the water department equipment Tuesday night. 4-H kids put in a lot of work during the year, and now it's time to recognize those efforts. Kendra Wallace is the 4-H coordinator for the University of Illinois Extension in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties, and explains they are hosting their Achievement Night to honor students this weekend.
We are just wrapping up our awards and records. Those were all submitted in September, and the judging is finally over with, and now we are gearing up for our Achievement Night. That will be this upcoming Saturday, November the 9th, and that will be hosted out at Allerton's 4-H Memorial Camp. It is it's kind of like what we do at awards at the 4-H show, but on a little bit larger scale. So this is a reflection of the kids' entire year and their accomplishments throughout the year. It's all of your other participations, so not just showing projects at the fair, but the club meetings that you attended, if you went to any of the state or national level activities that are around. And let's see, there's other awards such as like our Friend of 4-H Award, Family Spirit Award, our Alumni Awards. Those are all tied in, Leader of the Year, and it gives us a chance to recognize everyone who makes this program possible.
The event highlights 4-Hers from all three counties. This in the extension serves and will take place on Saturday at 4:00 at the Allerton 4-H Memorial Camp.
All three counties. It's going to highlight DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt County. and we'll have a dinner, we'll have games and activities, and then it also gives everyone a chance to kind of see 4-H camp if they've not had an opportunity to see that before, kind of as an enticement for the kids to check it out.
Yeah.
That will be coming open here very soon. January generally kicks that off, so it's a nice little preview. That is Saturday, November the 9th. It starts, I believe, at 4 o'clock out at Allerton's 4-H Memorial Camp.
Get information about all things extension for DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties at go.illinois.edu/DMP or find them on Facebook. Still to come on this Tuesday, the cold and flu season is upon us, and a Monticello healthcare provider will offer up some tips to stay healthy during this cold and flu season. Also coming up in sports on this Wednesday, we take a look at Monticello's round one playoff victory over DuQuoin, and the Sages look ahead to Williamsville on Saturday. Those stories still to come on the morning show. School report card data is out now, and a local school leader is taking a deep dive into how their district shaped up. Dr. Hillary Stanifer is the superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools and indicates the data for her district was released last week. She reminds the school report card is an all-encompassing evaluation of a school district.
The time where it's embargoed, I want to make sure that I say there could be some corrections, and some districts have lived through that where they got a designation and something changed during the month of October. So nothing is set in stone for sure. That's why we can't speak in specifics yet. But oh my goodness, I am so thrilled with what we're seeing. You know, each building is measured on their proficiency in math and reading, but they're also measured in their growth. So let's say that your proficiency has been low and you have a way to go. You can at least get credit for moving along that line in the right direction with your growth score. So a lot of good things are noted. And I will just say that our middle level building recently, maybe not last report card, but the report card before, had a targeted designation, which means you need to do some work in a certain area. And oh my goodness, they have done that work. They dug in and they've had a great attitude about it and a lot of great efforts. And they're going to be very happy to see what the result is.
Truancy is an issue that many districts are struggling with, and Dr. Stanifer says while COVID is past, the impacts of the policies of those days linger in this issue.
So we're gonna get a measure on chronic truancy, and I'll tell you that, you know, just it wasn't that long ago that we weren't allowed to really talk about kids being absent because we had to encourage them to stay home when they were sick or when they had a diagnosis, right? Won't even say, you know, the reason, but we all know why. So we were always encouraged during that period of a couple of years not to make a big deal out of attendance, not to give, you know, perfect attendance awards and that kind of thing, because then you could be spreading illness by causing kids to come. You know, so anyway, that we're kind of past that now, and we're going back and really trying to focus on that attendance, because a lot of families, I'm afraid, got into the habit of, oh, you don't feel quite so well? Yeah, why don't you just go ahead and stay home? We can make it up later. And that has kind of unfortunately become the norm. And so we're really trying to fight against that. So chronic absenteeism, that's definitely in there. Like we said, proficiency. In other words, what have you mastered in both math and reading? And then also that growth. So if your proficiency scores aren't good, you should be able to make quite a bit of movement in the area of growth because you're moving on that marker. So that's in there as well. Some grade levels have science assessments that are in there. The high school has a graduation rate. So all of those things come together, and the state board has a very intricate formula that they put out all these numbers through, and then they give you a nice diagram that we call the house. It's actually looking like a house, and they tell you what your scores are in each area.
Yeah. According to Dr. Stanifer, the truancy piece of the school report card is heavily weighted by the State Board of Education because missed class time results in a lot of learning loss for students, even if it is only small amounts at a time.
And it can cause you a designation at times. So
right.
That's one thing that we're working on the inside. But really what our goal is we have to make sure that we explain enough to parents so they understand what the impact, like if you have a dentist appointment or an orthodontic appointment, which let's face it, a lot of our early adolescents have those appointments, and you can't all go on Saturday and you can't all go after school, but we're trying to tell parents, if you have that appointment at 11 o'clock, could you please bring them back when you're done? You know, it doesn't mean that you get a free lunch and let's go to the park for the afternoon. Let's get them back in the classroom, get them in front of the teacher, because we all know that our kids are doing better when they have that direct instruction with the teacher.
Right.
It's not over a computer, it's in person. Then you come back in, you've missed a critical concept, and 3 of your peers weren't there as well. And then the teacher's trying to figure out, do I just keep going on and let them figure it out on their own?
Right.
Or do we have to speak up and do that? And, I think long gone are the days where it's the norm to have everybody in every class.
Dr. Stanifer credits her administration for its growing understanding of the report card and for working to make sure they're meeting the standards set by the state of Illinois. The data for Blue Ridge schools is now available at blueridge18.org. As the winter months approach, so too does the cold and flu season. Amber Oberheim with OSF Healthcare in Monticello says prevention during the cold and flu season is as simple as washing your hands often and getting your vaccinations.
Yes, cold and flu season is upon us. I actually just got my flu shot yesterday. And flu shots are one of those things, so many times I hear patients say, oh, every time I get my flu shot, it gives me the flu. Well, that really isn't accurate. So you may have some side effects from the flu shot, as do I this morning. I'm a little achy, but you will not get the flu from the flu shot. With the whole COVID epidemic that we are hopefully on the tail end of, knowing when to go in and when not to go in and when to go to work or school and when not to has become a little bit more complicated, right? I think the biggest thing in terms of prevention for adults and children alike is hand washing. Mm-hmm. So if you take anything away from being able to prevent getting sick this cold and flu season, it's wash your hands and wash them well. And make sure your kids are washing their hands, because kids love to wash their hands, but then they touch everything, and then they touch their nose, and they touch their mouth, and they touch their ears, and they touch their next, the kid sitting next to them somewhere on the face, and they sneeze, and they, all of the things, right? They're really great little transmitters of viruses. And so just teaching them good hand washing and, keeping a good, personal space is sometimes tricky, but that will help.
Oberheim notes since the pandemic, it's become more difficult to decide when to stay home from work or school and when not to. She says parents should never hesitate to bring their child to her office.
Knowing when to come in is always a little bit tricky too. When I'm speaking to parents, I just tell them, listen, you know your kid better than anybody else, and if your gut says, I need to bring him in to be checked out, then by all means, bring him in and we'll check him out, right? Mm-hmm. Typically, with something viral, and I tell my patients this too, I wish that I had something that would tell me, oh, this is viral or this is bacterial, because sometimes they are difficult to tell apart. Mm-hmm. And if you have a virus, you might, have very similar symptoms. But your body and your immune system are going to take care of that on their own for the most part. If you have something that's bacterial, strep throat, pneumonia, an ear infection, etc., you may require some antibiotics to treat that and to make you feel better. So typically, if you've had symptoms for over 3 or 4 days, you're running fever, or the child is just not acting normal, not eating, not sleeping well, fussier than normal, my advice is it's better to just check it out. So when in doubt, check it out. And in terms of my clinic and our practice, we are happy to check it out whenever we need to.
OSF is opening a new satellite location in Monticello at some point this winter, with an official date to be released soon. The office will be located at 777 Bridge Street in Monticello. Call to schedule your appointment at 217-560-6300. A quick break. We wrap things up next on The Morning Show.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at bombchevybuick.com right from the start.
News time, 29 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday. Coverage of news today brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and we stream to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network news, next, a look at sports follows.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. Donald Trump will be returning to the White House as president after defeating challenger Kamala Harris. It was during the 2 o'clock hour this morning, Mr. Trump declaring victory at his Florida headquarters. His win in swing state Wisconsin pushed Mr. Trump over the top in terms of electoral votes. Republicans regaining the Senate majority for the first time in 4 years, taking at least 2 seats from the Democrats, one in Ohio, the other in West Virginia. Among the Republican winners, incumbent Ted Cruz of Texas. There's been nothing yet on final control of the House, and it could be a while. Number of races in the lower house of Congress have yet to be called. Limits on abortion will stay in place in Florida, Nebraska, and South Dakota. On Wall Street, stock futures are soaring. The Dow futures up 1,294 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 351. More details, srnnews.com.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. Both DuQuoin and Monticello struggled for offense early in Class 3A first-round high school football playoff action Saturday, but a key sequence at the end of the first half and the start of the second half propelled the Sages to a 49-20 win. Monticello scored on the opening play from scrimmage when Sages senior quarterback Ike Young ran 66 yards for a touchdown. However, after that, offense came at a premium for both sides. DuQuoin broke through with a touchdown with 4:31 left in the second quarter to tie the game at 7. But Monticello answered with a quick score, and after forcing the Indians to a 3-and-out, they came down and scored again with 35 seconds left in the first half to go up 21-7. The Sages would get another score early in the third quarter to go up 28-7. Monticello coach Coley Welter felt that helped turn the game in their favor.
Yeah, our offense got rolling, and although I think we were getting beat up front defensively quite a bit when we needed to make plays. We kept them out of the end zone. That was important. And except for the one big play after we had kind of gotten a cushion. But, I thought we were a little stymied there for a little bit. And then the 2 touchdowns at the end of the first half gave us some cushion. Yeah. And then, being able to go 70, 80 yards and 3 run plays to start the second half was really nice. It's nice to be able to run the ball. Because, at that point, it was anybody's game. And to be honest with you, I honestly thought they were quote unquote winning. Like I thought they were controlling the ball. They were moving the ball down the field. We just fortunately were able to stop them in the red zone a couple times. But to get the kick return after they scored by Helms to get us to the 40 and then to score real quick and then get back and score again. Yeah, really gave us some momentum coming in the second half. And then, like I said, to get the stop and then go in 3 plays and score to give us a 3 touchdown lead, that made us feel a little more comfortable.
Big plays continue to plague Monticello's defense. Coach Welter points out there's been a few games this year where they get some separation, but the opponent gets a big play to get right back in the game.
And, we talked about in pregame, it's something we have to improve. Like same thing happened against Prairie Central. Same thing happened today. I think it may have happened earlier in the year. We get ourselves a little cushion, we'll go up 28-7, and then boom, like no time's off the clock, and it's right back to a 2-touchdown lead, and we just can't give up those big plays. We got to make them work for it. But to your point, give our kids credit for coming right back down and scoring and getting it back up to 3.
The Sages offense was sluggish until late in the first half, but Monticello credits Coley Welter credits his quarterback coach Chris Jones for getting his senior quarterback to settle down and make good throws the rest of the way, as Young completed 7 of his 8 final throws on the afternoon.
If you notice, and one of the things, Coach Jones talked to Ike about just slowing down a little bit, be patient. If you notice, we had Nolan open early, threw it a little too soon, had Carter open, threw it a little too soon, had him on a comeback, threw it a little off kilter. He just needed to relax and throw a little bit better. And then coming out of the half, we felt like we could attack one side of the ball, so we just did some checks with our GT, and we really hadn't run GT much because we knew they blitzed a lot. So going like a counter play, and we were a little skeptical about running it with their blitzing, but we felt like they were playing soft on the end. And as a result, we thought we could attack their defensive ends, particularly one side of the ball, and that really worked out well for us.
It's off to Williamsville Saturday for second round action. Coach Welter is good friends with Williamsville head coach Aaron Coons. The Bullets have played in 3 state title games under his leadership, and a shakeup on offense this year for them will be a challenge for Monticello.
They're Wishbone. They've been a spread. I mean, obviously a very strong program. Like I said, Aaron's a really good friend of mine and great coach, and they got a great program. They've been to the state title game 3 times during his tenure there. And but they've gone Wishbone this year, and apparently really fast Wishbone. So they're always stout on defense. I mean, that's kind of what their trademark is, playing defense. But they're pretty good at mixing things up offensively, and so we'll see some Wishbone.
Williamsville was ranked 6th in the final 3A high school football poll, while Monticello came in 7th. Game time is 2 p.m. Saturday. Hear the action right on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Elsewhere in the second round of the high school football playoffs, starting in Class 1A, Toledo-Cumberland takes on Camp Point Central for a 2 o'clock kick on Saturday. GCMS battles Newman Central Catholic at 2 o'clock on Saturday. Leroy gets Rockford Lutheran at 1 o'clock Saturday. Tri-Valley takes on Chicago Christian at 2 o'clock on Saturday. Warrensburg-Latham travels to Johnston City for a 5 o'clock Saturday afternoon matchup. Maroa Forsyth takes on Chester at 2:30 on Saturday. Quincy Notre Dame gets Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond at 2 o'clock on Saturday. Class 2A high school football action, St. Joe Ogden. In 3A, St. Joe Ogden takes on Tolono Unity at 2 o'clock on Saturday, while Wilmington battles Eureka at 5. Class 4A action, Peoria Notre Dame battles Mount Zion Friday at 7 o'clock. Normal U-High takes on Richland County Saturday at 4. Peoria will play Thornton Fractional North Friday at 7. Metamora takes on Chicago Morgan Park Saturday at 2. Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin in Class 5A takes on Joliet Catholic at 2 o'clock on Saturday. In Class 6A, Oak Lawn Richards takes on Washington Friday night at 7. Normal West travels to East St. Louis for a Saturday 2 o'clock game. Kankakee battles Bloomington Saturday at 2. Chatham-Glenwood takes on Oak Forest Saturday at 2. And in Class 7A, Mount Prospect takes on Normal Community Friday nights at 7 o'clock. Get the latest in local sports anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun today, with daytime highs approaching 57. Northwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight.